Good afternoon. 28th of March here today. It was the 1st of March the last time I put a post on. Not a lot's been happening. Plants have been growing very well. I'm beat for space, as everybody is. One of the regular questions on Facebook is, what size greenhouse should I buy? It doesn't matter what size greenhouse you buy, you'll fill it and you'll be short of space. So just buy the biggest you can. It's the best advice I can give you. A few little questions come in over the last week or two. The first one is, everyone is beat for space and people are asking, when can we start planting out? Well, to be honest, we've had an absolute beautiful week in the last week, maybe 10 days even. Lovely sunny days. We've had 17, 18 degrees up in the northeast here. Parts of the country have had 21 degrees, but we've still been getting frost on an evening. Now, the forecast for the week ahead isn't good. We'll actually forecast snow on Wednesday and possibly again on Friday. Temperatures have dropped from 17, 18 degrees down to, well, this week it's forecast around about the 7 and 8 degrees. So it's not good. The only trouble is, if you've got stuff burning and spoiling in the greenhouse and cramped in like mine is it better off to actually plant? Providing the soil temperature, I've checked my soil temperature and it's around 48 degrees. So I'm actually contemplating planting. I'll show you what I've been doing with the trenches, and then I'll make a decision later in the week when I find out what the night temperatures are. They're coming in at the moment around about 3 degrees. Inside the polytunnels they're coming in around about 4 or 5 degrees. And to be honest, I'm not bothered about that. That would suit me. I would fleece up on an evening. I do fleece the tops of the tunnels as well. So I am contemplating planting, and maybe in a week's time I may have some stock planted. I have started cleaning a few stock plants up, and if you remember about a year ago, well, last summer, I grew a lot of Blanchleek seedlings. Well, I selected 6 or 7 out. They were really superb plants, very big, very long, foliage very good on them. I cut the tops off them about 5 to 6 weeks ago because they were all fastened and knotted up at the top. I'm going to show you the state of play. I haven't cleaned them down since, and I've still got the foliage that I cut off just lying on the floor. We'll have a look at them, and I'll take a look at some onions and other things. Cheers. Right, this is the stock plants that I was on about. These were all seedlings. I cut them clean off here, as you can see. Go along the row. You can see where they were cut off. You can see where they've grown away again. This is in about 6 weeks, this growth. And that's all the foliage that I cut off. It's all dried up. But as you can see, that one has split. It's continued to grow. It's pushing its way up. 1 or 2 of them got caught with frost after I'd cut them off and started to grow, as you can see here. But that's not an issue. The centre growth will still pop out of there all right. I have torn them down, split them open, as you can see here. I've split the foliage. I'll continue to do so, just so as you can get them opened up and get that centre growth out. And at the minute, the centre growth, it was caught early on, but they'll grow away as the weather's starting to improve. They've been watered once or twice, and I have put a little bit Terra Plus around the top of the pots just to give it a little feed. What I'll do, I will get in here and strip all this growth off as well. So that's a Blanchleek. These are king pods, which I haven't cleaned down yet, but as you can see, they're growing away nicely. They're all right. They need cleaned. I've got lots of work on at the moment, but we'll get round to that and I'll get them all cleaned up, the ones that I intend to keep. I'm going to move around. We'll take a look at some onions. Before we look at the onions, these are the last 3 pot leeks. They remained in the bed. They were Jimmy Dunnett's Cumbrian. It was a very nice Cumbrian. You can see they're very straight. They were super quality. And again, I only lifted them about a fortnight ago. Cut most of the foliage back, as you can see here, shortened foliage. Nice centre growth coming out. Stripped them down. They were still big leeks and they were still quite good quality. So they've been cleaned off and put back in for stock. We'll now move around and look at the onions. Right, these are all the onions. If you remember, I had some large onions which I stripped down, and then I had some which I didn't strip down. I'll show you the ones that I didn't, and these are the ones that I did strip down to the candles. What we call a candle is the 1 centre growth. They're all away very nicely, as you can see. I've lost a couple there, but the bulk of them are coming away nicely. Quite a few single heads, which I like to see. 1 or 2 double heads. You can see this one's starting to produce 2 centres. That one's got 2 heads on it, 2 candles which have been cleaned down. Quite happy with that. I try to avoid the ones with multiple heads. That one's got 3 on. That's as many as I would want on any. I wouldn't keep anything beyond that. So they're looking quite nice. They're all clean. They're all to do with the water now. I have been watering, but just sparingly. Move along, show you there's a big one in there actually, which I haven't stripped. That one, as you can see, it's just starting to go soft now. This needs to be stripped off. It's pushed up, and it has pushed multiple heads up. But I'll strip that one down. I've started doing some. Next door, we'll take a look at those. Right, this is just to show you. These onions were like this, pushing out the top, and you can see where I've started to strip them down. I've just done a segment just to show you what they were like. The skins are still firm, as you can see here, nice and clean and firm. But that's what I'm looking for, just that centre bit there and that centre bit there. 2 heads. This one's got 2 heads on. That one may have more. But this, I'll continue all the way around the bulb, strip it completely down, try and get all this away from the base. They'll be repotted into a larger pot, 5 litre pot. They'll grow on nicely through the summer, and that's where this year's onion stock will come from. Or next year's onion stock, should I say. Right, I'm going to take a look at the beds. I'm starting on bed preparation now, so we'll have a little look at that. Right, it would have been nice had I had time before Christmas to get all the beds prepared. That's what most of the top exhibitors would do. Unfortunately, I've got a lot on my plate, and they didn't get done. So they've been stripped out, all the weeds have been stripped off. You can see polythene still on that one. I've just removed the polythene off this particular bed, and just looking along the bed, this isn't prepared. This is just the way everything was lifted out of here. Now after the leeks came out, we did put cauliflowers in, and I had cabbages in, and we've had a really good crop right through the winter. Now what I'm going to do on this particular bed, I'm just going to rake it off. It's fairly clean, it's had the polythene covers on. I rake it all off, just loosen the top up. I will give a top dressing of Terra Plus, and I think I'll put that on at about maybe 6 ounces to the square yard, and that's all I'm actually going to do. Put the hose pipes on. You can see I have drip hose on here, the porous pipe. This will be left on, sorry, and turned on for an hour or 2 each night, just to soak these beds up. I'll pull the polythene back on, and I will plant out. Now this particular bed here is done. I'm going to show you what I've actually been doing here. If we can look along the bed. This is going to grow a new variety of leek for me, and it's a fairly large one. So what I have actually done on this particular bed, we lifted it, cleaned it off. I didn't turn it over, but I did hoe the top of the bed, just the top 2 or 3 inches. Into that top 2 or 3 inches, I put 4 ounces of Terra Plus. And 2 ounces of John Innes base fertiliser and 1 ounce of hoof and horn, and that's been hoed in at the top. We then saturated the beds. I've gone along, put my 5 litre buckets in, ready just to be lifted out. The beds are soaking. Underneath here, you'll see this, the diving in there. You know that I have worm bins with approximately 1,000 worms in a bin. And what I've done, I've actually emptied a bin onto this bed, and I've split it up, and under this is cardboard. The worms love cardboard, and it also helps to keep the moisture in. So what I've done, I've cut cardboard all the way along, as you can see. I've put the lay flat hose on top of the cardboard. I've had this on this morning. The sun's been out a little bit and starting to dry the little middle bits out here. But underneath each of these, where I've put the worms, they've all gone down because I have, but there was worms incorporated all the way along between all the buckets. I've covered them up and wet them. They don't like the daylight. It's amazing how quickly they can disappear. It just takes seconds and they can dive down into your trenches. But this particular bed now is ready for planting, apart from the black and white polythene, which I am actually just starting to roll out this end. So this will be rolled out. This is too wide, it's 2 meters. I'll cut this down the middle. This will be rolled all the way along the bed. I'll cut the holes out. Wherever there's a bucket, there will be a hole cut out, and then I just need to lift the pot out and drop my leeks in. And I'll watch the weather conditions this week before we actually do that. Up above I do have shading which can be pulled over, and I have got double fleece up, which is frost protection netting, and I also keep a roll on the end of the trench, which once planted out I will fleece the plants up as well. So watch this space. Within the next week I'll probably have a few leeks in. Right, it's just a small post tonight. I'm not going back up the top to take a look at the leeks at the minute. They're growing well, but they're starting to spoil in the greenhouse. One or two are getting burnt with the hot sunshine we've had over the last week. They're only in 5 litre pots, and to be honest, they need either potting up